I think most Republicans and most conservatives would agree that slaves are bad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
exactly. So I think the fact that we've got past the point of having slaves and we're working towards getting more people off the street, I think is good, don't you?
I'm not sure. I mean, in an ideal anarcho-primitivist society, it's every man for himself.
That is true, but we're not living in an ideal anarcho-primitivist society. What about the realistic society?
No, that's what I'm arguing for. In a realistic society, I don't want my money to go to the NHS.
Yeah, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is: do you think that the fact that even because humans have probably a better quality of life now than we did back then, on the whole, on the average?
You say
I'm not talking about
that,
the 1%,
but
I'm talking about on average.
I don't think that's true. I think
why not?
I think being with nature and being in nature and looking after yourself and not being bombarded by radiation left, right, and centre day in, day out, and your eardrums blasted by some electronic trash. I think those people would have had a better quality of life than ours.
And there are people who like that sort of stuff, and they're like the Amish people, and they're like people who live out away from civilization. I mean, if you want to go and do that, there's nothing stopping you. But for the rest of us, that quite like
it's for the greater good. It's for the greater good.
What do you mean?
Me saying, right, so if I became king, and I said, let's get rid of all technology, and all the technology got gotten rid of, maybe not in the UK particularly because of the weather, but in Greece, or in France or southern Germany and whatnot, then you would have a better quality of life. You'd be outside, you'd be with nature, you'd be getting oxygen, you'd be getting exercise, you'd be away from all the
oh my god,
away from pollution. That's right.
I don't think necessarily because I think we as a human race we've sort of become accustomed to having all this stuff that we have, like electricity. I quite enjoy doing this podcast every week.
Yeah, no, society-wise, that's true, but not physically. Our bodies aren't, our bodies haven't adapted in a few hundred years to become accustomed to all the radiation, all the.
What do you mean? What do you mean all the radiation?
Radiation from phones, waves coming down from satellites. Just connect us to the internet, processed foods.
There's not
chemicals.
Much radiation coming from.
Yeah, no, that's just part of the problem. I'm listing the rest of them now. There's pollution. I mean, all the
pollution.
Barely
noticeable.
Well, no, you don't know it's noticeable because your body hasn't adapted to it. It's killing you slowly, and your body can't recognise it.
But I mean, we're living longer than we did before.
That's not true.
The Greeks did. That is true.
No, it's not.
That is very much true.
Sophocles lived to 92. People were living till the 80s and 90s.
Sophocles lived to 92. I can mention the person who lived to 125. That doesn't affect the point that the average age has gone up.
No, people have this preconception about Roman and Greek people that they were dying at 30, everyone had diseases.
Well, should we have a look on the interwebs?
It's not true, Alistair. People were living.
Right. Oh, Jesus Christ, my microphone's falling over. Right, let's have a look. Okay.
They were living shorter lives by a few years, maybe 5-10 years here or there, but the quality of life was much better.
Should we? I disagree. Should we have a look?
Okay.
Let's have a look. Right.
It's ironic that ancient Greeks lived into their 70s and older, while more than 2,000 years later, modern Americans aren't living much longer. Philologically speaking,
according to 1907, it was 45.6.
Yeah, that's 1907.
By 1957, it was 66.4.
Yeah,
2007.
Try 1000 BC, Alistair. That's the time I'm talking about.
What about 2,000 years ago? In addition to Socrates' reference, the Bad Science column cites an article on Egyptian pyramid buildings in the November 2001 issue of National Geographic noted.
Alistair, we're talking about Greeks. We're talking about Greeks here, please.
No. Okay, well.
Egyptians are a completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah, Egyptians only lived to about 40 years old.
Yes, the culture was completely different. It's non-comparable. It quite clearly says here on the John Hawkes web blog, according to the...
Yeah, well, I'm having a look at other sources as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at other sources. But the point is...
Ancient lifespan of a person in Greece. Right, this is a forum. Oh, God, it's a forum.
A forum? We're not trusting that, are we?
No, we're not having a look at that. It's probably... What was the average age of an ancient Greece? This is Quora.
Love it.
Oh, God, Quora. The number I've heard 7 times is 30. That's what someone says. And someone else says 70 was seen as old enough to die. So that's good. So right now we've got
Yeah, well, Alistair, the only conclusive evidence.
But what is the life? Oh, Wikipedia. Here's Wikipedia. Let's have a look. I trust Wikipedia, don't you?
Well, anyone could write it. I could go on there and say it was 500.
Okay, so the Paleolithic time was 33 years old. Life expectancy. Neolithic 20 to 33. Bronze Age and Iron Age is 26. Classical Greece, that's what we're looking at, aren't we?
Yep.
Was 25 to 28. Classical Rome was 20 to 30.
Alistair, I'm looking at exactly the same thing, and this is complete rubbish.
Is it now?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. This information was derived from 1961.
Where does...
It says it right above it. The following information is derived from the 1961 Encyclopedia Britannica. Okay, so are you
saying that the increase in technology has yielded better results now that we've got more technology
of course.
Advanced?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So technology advanced. Okay.
Yeah, with technology, we have a much more accurate view of the ancient world. That's a fact.
Well, James, if I'm honest, I think that we're living longer than the ancient Greeks used to.
Well, I'm looking at this and it says 70s.
I'm pretty much certain.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying we're living... Oh, no, you've got me wrong. Look, they didn't live into their 90s. They were living into their 60s and 70s, right? I'm not saying they lived to the 85, which I think is the average today, right? Obviously not. They were living to their 60s and 70s. And the point is that living to your 60s and 70s as an actual human being is better than living to 85 with the last 10 years in some NHS hospital, with the previous 30 years being bombarded by radiation and processed foods, which are killing you, with the constant fear of cancer and
human beings.
All these stupid. No, we're not. We are. We're half dead.
So are we not human beings now? Dead. Because we still don't have the same sort of culture that we had 2,000 years ago. No, I think we are. Well, I think the lack of people in the streets. I think lack of slavery. I think the fact that we don't have to be worried about getting invaded every 5 minutes. I think the fact that we don't have to worry about the bubonic plague every couple of minutes. I think the fact that we don't have to be worried about the Black Death. I think we don't have to worry about the fires taking place randomly in place. I think the fact that we don't have to be worried about the monarch possibly killing us because they don't like our religion. I think that's all a good thing.
Well,
you may disagree.
No, that's just not true.
That's fine. If you disagree,
you're actually lying.
You can live in some little Alaskan village somewhere where they cook fish every day and have got a farm. You can go live with that. I like living in security. I like living in peace, and I much prefer it if I'm honest.
Well, let me say
if you don't, that's fine.
You're 10 times more likely to get cancer in your late life than they were.
Yeah, but I'm 10 times more likely to actually live to late life than they are because I've got all the possibilities of that I'm going to be killed by the king. So I'm going to be invaded. Someone's going to stab me.
You want to go through chemotherapy?
Well, if I'm honest, I'd rather go through chemotherapy than die at 40. Yes. What about you?
Who said 40? I said 60 and 70.
Well, fine. I would rather go through chemotherapy at 60, 70 and have that extra little bit of life, that extra 20 years to have a good time. Yeah, then I would, wouldn't you?
Have a good time. You'd be in a hospital bed.
Well, James, think about it. We retire at what age? What is the age, James?
70 something. I don't know.
It's 69. I think 68, 69 is the age when you start getting your pension. That's the age when you're supposed to retire. And if I'm honest, I want a little bit of time after I've finished working to sort of settle down and like.
Well, yeah, there's the problem. There's the problem. The government tells you when you stop working. How stupid is that? What sort of society? What sort of society and government? No, I know that. What sort of society and government says that you can't finish work at 30 and go travelling for the rest of your life?
I mean, you could. There's nothing stopping you. I mean,
no, you couldn't. You wouldn't get a pension.
You wouldn't. Well, I mean. No, but I mean, if you've got enough money to go off and travel for the rest of your life, I don't think you really need a pension. I think pensions much better going to people that need it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the people who don't have it, why should they have to work until they're 68? Why can't they just go on a pilgrimage to Greece?
Well, there's nothing stopping them.
Yes, there is.
What is?
Money. The whole concept of money is stopping them.
Well, then you've got a problem with capitalism, which I don't think... I mean, you got a problem with I mean, if you really want to give people who want to go out to pilgrimage, do you really want to give people money to just go and wander around?
No, of course not. Of course not. No, they don't have to earn it. They should be able to do what they want to do without the government saying, "Here's the age, 69. You can either work yourself to death at this age, or you won't get a pension." That's autistic. That's completely stupid.
Well, I mean, no, I think that's it.
Do you think we live in this progressive liberal state where, we have Jeremy Corbyn's left, right and centre making sure everyone's quality of life is brilliant? But in actual fact, they're the real fascists. They dictate...
Would you like to explain that philosophy to me, James?
I'm going to explain it to you right now. They dictate every single aspect of your life daily. They dictate when your school days are. They dictate how much tax you have to pay. They dictate when you work, what type of work you can do. They dictate what you can and can't do, what you can and can't say, what you can and can't do on the internet, which shouldn't exist, but it's there. It's total fascism. There's no freedom in this country whatsoever.
That's true, and I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that.
You're fine with that?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I don't think I could do a better job. I don't think you could do a better job. I think the fact that
Well, a good majority of people could.
I think
do
the
want
fact that
change.
I think the fact that we've now got schooling stuff and work and stuff. I think that because all this is a result of thousands years of evolution and change to get what eventually works. I think that's fine. I don't think we should live in an anarchist society when
But it doesn't work. Our society doesn't work, Alistair.
it works a hell of a lot better than an anarchist society would.
Well, how do you know? You haven't lived in one.
What's your
Okay, guys, everyone pause. I'm just going to quickly intervene here. Alistair is about to get really, really angry and start shouting me down. And I think what he's actually done is turn down my volume and made himself louder to make himself more heard. So, just a quick heads up. Try to listen to what I'm saying in the next part. It makes perfect sense. And Alistair, as per usual, is spouting trash.
So you want to go around where every
answer
man
the
for
question.
himself.
Have you
The
lived in an
strongest
anarchist
man
society?
killed the
Have you
weakest
lived
man.
in
We have a
one?
state of nature and a state of disarray. You know, do you really? I mean, yes. There
Have you
there
lived
might
in
be
one?
peace. There might be peace.
Have
There's
you
a
lived in
possibility there
one?
would be peace, and we'd all live happily ever after.
Can you
but
see
if I'm
the
honest,
future?
I'm absolutely fine living right now while I know there's peace
Can
and
you
I know
see the
there's
future?
possibility of a good life. I much prefer that than the
Right,
possibility
you can't even
of
answer
either
the
living
question.
in fear that some 6'6" bat is going to come and shoot me in the head. Okay,
Oh, God,
I much
yeah.
prefer rather live in a place with laws. I don't like some of the things you said. I think people should be able to say what they want, and I don't think that you should have to do certain things. But I much prefer that than being able to do whatever you want.
Speculation. This is pure
I'm going to have a
speculation.
farm. I'm going to have a farm. I'm going to have
Speculation.
some people stealing from my farm. Ooh,
You are
anarchism.
speculating.
Ooh.
Saying things in an unironic voice doesn't make them not right, as you like to say.
Correct. Yeah.
You're
I just
spouting trash. Yes, again, you're shouting. You don't have the concentration or the intelligence. Listen.
Oh, James.
There's another thing. I
just listened to you say so
Here we go.
much.
Shout me down again. Shout me down again. Go on. Shout me down.
No, I'm listening.
That's what I thought. Ancient civilizations actually had the skill of listening. Okay. What are you laughing about?
We've gone off the monarchy a bit, haven't we? But continue.
If you lived in Greece or Rome, you would literally have to spend 5 minutes trying to figure out what someone just said for about 10 words. Why?
That's not good.
Of course it's ridiculous. Of course it's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. But they had the skill of listening and understanding before shouting down a microphone like a triggered SJW, which is what you
James,
just did. That's exactly what you just did.
You've
You
been shouting
cannot
down
listen to
microphones
people.
You're just doing that right now. I'm trying to
You
respond
cannot
to you. You're
listen to
shouting me down.
people.
I'm trying to respond to you. You're just shouting me down, saying you can't listen
you
to
just
me.
had a 30-second
You're a
spree
massive
fest, so now
hypocrite.
it's my turn.
Oh, is it okay? So you're hypocrite then, because you're basically what you're saying is that you want people to be able to listen to you, but if people don't listen to you, then you should have the right to shout something
we were
back. Is that what you're
we
saying?
were having a perfectly normal conversation. You started screaming.
No, James. I'll look back and say I think you started screaming before me. If I'm honest.
No, I was pointing out the fact
We
that
were having a lovely
people-
little discussion.
I
then-
was pointing out that I could be able to say what I want, go where I want, not work. You started screaming, saying that that's what I like, and then you started doing some sarcastic shit, and then then I just couldn't say anything, screaming down the microphone like a.
Well, James, I heard you trying to shout over me in that part. You can't be saying to me that you weren't trying to shout over me when I could hear you shouting over me in that part. In fact, when I go and edit this, when I compress all the levelers and stuff, I will be able to tell exactly who was loud at what point. Hello everyone, this is our post-production at 10:30 night. Very tired, doing all the compressing and leveling and stuff I've just said. And I'm going to fulfill my end of the promise and see who really started shouting over each other first, seeing the last, 3 minutes have just been us arguing about it. So let's go. I'm going from 27 minutes in, 44 seconds. From the bit where James starts talking,
It doesn't
saying
work.
about how it doesn't
Our
work,
society doesn't
society doesn't
work.
work.
Alistair.
And I say it works better than anarchist society.
Well, how do you know? You haven't lived in one.
And I start stuttering like a moron. And then James shouts over me. Let's go for that again.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't
Our
work.
society doesn't work, Alistair.
Anarchist society would
anarchist
work
society
worse.
Well, how do you know? You haven't lived in one.
So you want
And
to
then-
go around where every
No,
every
answer
man
the
for
question.
himself.
James
Yes,
started
John.
shouting over me. Sorry, James, I win this one. Yeah, in the next section.
Loudly over you shouting at me.
Were you now?
And the difference is, you got triggered, and that is going to be the end of the video because you're triggered.
Am I?
Therefore,
Okay.
I won,